In my opinion, the single most overlooked intangible or statistic in the GOAT race is the Masters race. Everybody's talking about the number of Grand Slams. Okay, great, that makes sense. Everybody's talking about the week spent at number one. Okay, awesome, that also makes sense. But why is nobody talking about the Masters race? It's really weird because it perfectly highlights out the real GOAT standings, which is that Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic are the two greatest tennis players of all time, a little bit ahead of Roger Federer. By the way, I made a video about exactly this topic. It should pop up right now in the card somewhere. But if you do not want to watch it, let me summarize it for you. My whole point was that Roger Federer only has volume stats. Therefore, those volume stats are currently being broken and are going to be broken in the future. Therefore, Roger Federer will be only left with a losing record against Rafael Nadal and a losing record against Novak Djokovic. Now let's get on to the Masters topic. Before making this video, I was actually kind of thinking about making a Rafa video from a Novak fan because I was thinking about Rafa and quote unquote he's only 209 weeks as the number one tennis player of all time, whilst Novak and Roger have 310 plus. And the second thought was, why is he playing so passively on hard courts? Now let me try to explain the 209 weeks. So I think the classic way, if you're a Rafa fan, the classic way to get out of this argument is to say, well, Rafael Nadal kept getting injured, therefore he couldn't really maintain the number one spot for longer periods of times, and Novak was a little bit more healthy, a little bit more lucky with injuries. And yeah, Novak can be the number one tennis player for longer. But let's look at the Masters. It really highlights out the truth. So we have 6 hardcore Masters, right? Rafael Nadal has won only 4 of them, and overall he has 10 hardcore Masters. But let's look at Novak. Novak Djokovic has won every Masters at least twice, including Clay Masters. So that's Rafael Nadal's strong suit, but Novak has won 2 Monte Carlos, 3 Madrid Opens, and 5 Italian Opens, 10 Masters. And also he has multiple finals and semifinals still. So Novak Djokovic, when you look at the Masters record, is the perfect tennis player to be ranked number one because from January until late November, he keeps winning tournaments. Therefore, he keeps collecting points. He does not have one part of the season that is highlighted out, such as Rafael Nadal is from April to June, clay season. And then he has these weak spots in the schedule, September, October, November, January, whatever. Novak Djokovic keeps winning tournaments in every single calendar month. Therefore, he's the perfect player to be ranked number one. Now, I think this is really overlooked because people think that Rafael Nadal is this awesome hardcore player. Maybe not as good as Novak, but he's really capable of winning multiple tournaments, which is kind of partially true, but not as much as you think so. So you look at the 4 US Opens, which really covers up the truth. So Rafa has 4 US Opens, which is really a lot for him. And people think that Rafa can win multiple tournaments. And of course, you can make excuses at the Australian Open. Oh, well, that's his weakest Grand Slam. Oh, well, Roger has only won Roland Garros. Oh, well, Novak has only won Roland Garros. But I think the Masters really show the truth. 0-0-1-1 on 4 out of 6 Masters. Now, let me get onto the passive play, which is really kind of explaining why isn't Rafael Nadal winning more Masters on hard court. So the classic Rafael Nadal style of playing a tennis match is topspin, clay, defense, and then his ball placement is so good and he wears down on his opponents because of the ball bouncing so high that he's able to attack and finish points if the opponent doesn't make mistakes. Now, he's so good on defense on clay, he can be 5 meters behind the line and he can wear down his opponents. As I said, the ball is bouncing higher, and it's not that the ball is bouncing higher, you have to lift up your shoulders, therefore that's more physical strain, it's more difficult, you get tired, and you cannot lift your shoulders up and hit top forehand and backhand shots, especially backhand shots, for 3 or 4 hours continuously. So therefore, nobody can really beat him at Roland Garros except Robin Soderling, because you have to play a perfect, strong game against Rafael Nadal to have a shot in 5 sets. So Rafael Nadal can win every single Roland Garros match on clay because he wears down his opponents and his ball placement is so good, and people are not able to have 7 or 8 perfect shots in a point or maybe 2 or 3 really strong, 100% strong shots in a point to, in the long run, win multiple points, multiple games, and multiple sets against Rafael Nadal. Now, let's go to hard courts. Rafael Nadal, in my opinion, plays on hard courts really similar than he plays on clay. So he plays a defensive game, and he can wear down opponents with his topspin and with his defense. Most of his opponents that are outside of the top 8, he can beat them. But when he faces a guy like Tsitsipas, a guy like Thiem, a guy like Medvedev, or a guy like Zverev, he runs into this trouble that he is ultra defensive, because these guys are able to hit multiple extremely good ball placed shots in a point, and they can do it continuously, and they are not making mistakes. So they are forcing Rafa to be even more defensive. So he's basically turning into an Andy Murray with a topspin. And Rafa is so defensive that even he makes forced errors, quote unquote forced errors, or unforced errors, or whatever you want to label it. So that's the problem that Rafa has. Rafa is just too defensive, and his topspin isn't as effective. And another factor is that these young players are really tall. They are over 190, so therefore they can hit the topspin much easier, because they do not have to lift their shoulders up on their head level. So that's another bad factor, bad luck for Rafael Nadal. And I think Rafa doesn't realize that he needs to play more aggressively. Well, actually he does realize, but we run into another Rafael Nadal problem, which is that Rafael Nadal is a confidence player. So sometimes he kind of switches up. Sometimes he will go and he will have a 1-2 punch, serve, volley, serve, aggressive forehand, serve, aggressive backhand, trying to hit a winner. And Rafael Nadal is actually really good at it. But the problem is that he's a confidence player, and it's not his comfort zone to attack that much. And if you remember the Tsitsipas game in the quarterfinals, I think in the tiebreak, he missed a really easy smash, right? And then he went back to being the classic Rafael Nadal 5 meters behind the line, and Tsitsipas was able to overwhelm them, because these younger players, and Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic, are able to overwhelm Rafael Nadal's ultra defensive tactics on the tennis field. So, tennis court, of course. So Tsitsipas was able to just push around Rafael Nadal, and Rafa never went back to being the aggressive player. Now, if I could give an advice to Rafael Nadal, just play aggressively. It's an aggressive era. These guys are always going to overwhelm you. These guys are always going to be tall. Your topspins are never going to bounce as high as they bounce on clay. You won't be able to wear them down. You are wearing down yourself. And as you can see, Rafael Nadal is losing these 4-setters, these 5-setters, because even he cannot maintain the form. He cannot maintain the intensity of a tennis match. He is the one that is always running around more. And another reason why I would switch up my tactics if I was Rafael Nadal is that I'm old and I'm beaten up and I keep getting injured. So how to preserve my body? Play shorter points, aka play shorter games, aka play shorter sets, aka play shorter matches. I only have so many hours left, let's say 500 or 300 hours left on the tennis courts. So why am I spending 2.5, 3 hours playing in the first round of a Grand Slam against the world, I don't know, 67th player? Well, I can just play like Roger Federer and finish the match in 92 minutes. That would make sense. Why am I doing this? Why am I playing defensively against the world-ranked 67th player when I can just finish them off? And it would give me a better chance at beating these young players, because with my defensive tactics, I just cannot keep up with them. So as a Nola fan, that's my advice for Rafael Nadal. I hope that he actually won't watch this video, because, as I said, I'm a Nola fan, so I wouldn't like him to, beat Nola. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, let me know in the comment section what do you think about my ideas. Cut.